Hello guys, this is Keys to the Truth. So in this video, let's dive deeper into the whole meaning of this calcium fiasco and this attack and onslaught on humanity via calcium poisoning of the food supply and of pretty much everything that we come in touch with. What it means, why they're doing it, the more metaphysical and spiritual aspects of this debacle. So, first, we go step by step. We look at the Sanskrit, which is, I've told you several times before, the language of creation. Sanskritam is the real name. And so, calcium is chaureya in Sanskrit. All right, simple enough. Not much there. But so let's look at other synonyms. Because what we call as calcium today might not have been referred as calcium in ancient times, right? So we look at other ways to call this, and the most common one is limestone, right? So we look at what is limestone in Sanskrit. It is Carara. Cara, okay? So let's look at what it means. When we look at Cara, and you see this technique I use, I do the translation one way and then I run it the other way. It's a very common technique us translators use when translating from or interpreting, however you want to refer to it as, from one language to another, so that you actually get the correct meaning. So you're kind of double filtering both ways. So Carcara has several meanings in Sanskrit, not just limestone, but it also means just a stone. It also means a mirror, a hammer, something hard, a bone. So you can see it goes back to the calcium, something hard, firm. A tree is also referred to as Carcara because trees are made of hard wood, but also they are made of calcium. The wood is made of calcium. So this is very interesting how the language encodes all this wisdom and knowledge. And so blind well, Karkara and Dukkha, we're going to get to that. So this tells us a lot. It also gives you some insight into the world where we're living in. It is made of stone, but it's also a tree. So you see the relationship between tree and stone is here. Wood and stone. Wood turns into stone. So we live on a tree. Whether you want to come to grips with it or not, let the cognitive dissonance go through you and move forward. Okay, I have a lot of videos on that. I don't want to get sidetracked, but we do live on a tree. We live on the tree of life, which is the body of God Himself. There's a lot of philosophies that believe that this world is an illusion. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita actually addresses that specifically and says that no, it's not an illusion. It's filled with the power of the Creator, the Maya of the Creator, but that means magic. That doesn't mean illusion. It is not the ultimate reality, in my opinion, but it is still a reality nonetheless. One that we have to contend with at the current level that we're in. So moving forward, it is also a reflection or a manifestation of the Creator. So the creation is also in fact the Creator. We're blinded to it. But once you start seeing all the numerology, all the mathematics, which is actually called Ganita, all the golden ratio in the plants, in your eyes, in the palm of your hand, you'll see that you can actually see the handprint, the signature of the Creator, of the Almighty everywhere. And not just the signature, He's there. He's always there with you. We're just blinded and dumb and deaf to His presence. So let's continue. Carcara means several other things. It also means a serpent. Wow, that's pretty sneaky right there. So this thing that's calcifying us, remember, we're going back to the leading number one cause of death that I already showed you in the past two videos, which is really calcium. And going back to the first video, calcium's in everything. Anything that you eat is going to have calcium pretty much. There's just a few things that don't, but so I'm not saying to avoid all calcium. What I'm saying is that we're inundated with an over supply of calcium. Okay, you're oversaturated with added calcium, which has been added artificially. Plants, vegetables, and meats all have naturally occurring calcium. So the calcification process is a natural process of aging, of turning into stone and back to dust, from dust to dust. You see the Bible also encodes all this, from dust to dust. And this natural process. However, if you know about the process, you can speed it up or you can slow it down intentionally. So Carcara is also the same definitions here. Limestone, hard bone mirror. It's found in gems, conjunction with gems, because it forms an integral part of petrification and rock formation. And we'll need to dissect it a little more so that we can have the nitty-gritty, because remember, Sanskrit is a Lego language. What do I mean by Lego language? You can dissect the different parts of each word to extract a deeper meaning or the original meaning that may have been lost throughout the ages, because we don't have, realistically speaking, we don't have dictionaries that have the over 100 billion words in Sanskrit. It's impossible. They've been burned, they've been destroyed, they've been just lost in time. But with the original 2,000 plus dhatus, or the roots, dhatu means something that's been given by the Creator, the Almighty. We can find out, fathom the meaning of any word in any language. Just chew on that. Any word in any language. It's a Lego language, and it's the basis for any language of any kind. So Carcara is also composed of these two right here, car and cara. Car is very simple. Car means like your car that you drive to work. It means a vehicle, something that moves, something that makes, something that creates action. It's the same root as karma. And cara is also close, but it's not exactly the same. So let's look at cara. So here we have something that makes cara. Now let's see what cara is. Okay, so cara, we're going to have it over here. Car, here, car. What I say, work, function, deed, act, work. Okay, so a car. Okay, so cara means several things. It means a tax. It means the author of something, a toll, a tribute. And the derivatives also are gonna, the declinations are gonna tell you a lot about the root. Taxable. All right, so here we go. Cara also means an act, a doer. So for example, in Spanish, you have the word for face. Your face is your cara. Why? Because you are the doer. You are the one that's making. All right, so that's why this word is also derived into the Spanish. Cara also means an affliction, a pain. So we're getting there. A confinement, a binding, a slaughter, a killing. Boom! We've hit the nail on the head, right? So you see, a cara is something that is making a confinement, something that is making affliction, something that is making pain, something that is binding you, something that is confining you. So that's why I named these videos the number one cause of death, but also the occulted mechanism of the soul trap. Because, in fact, the calcification of the pineal gland is one of the end games that the fallen angels play. So they're not happy that they're killing you sooner than you would have died. So when you have humans are designed pretty much to live 100 years and change. So we're not dying at 100 years. You're usually dying starting at 40, from 40 to 80. 80 if you're lucky. So 40s, 60s, 50s, 70s. You're dying because of all the things that we covered previously. All the top 10 things are attributed to calcium. But if you die and you are reborn, and let's not get into the debate of like if there's one life or several lives. That's for another video. But so you die, you're reborn, you die, you're reborn. What's the advantage if you're a demon, fallen angel turned demon? What's the advantage in killing people early? Well, there's several things, because if you think, if you kind of have to be like, wise as serpents but gentle as doves. So you have to kind of put yourself in their shoes. Like, what do you gain? These folks are going to be reborn. What do I gain by killing them early? Well, you don't let them mature. First of all, you don't let them mature physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You also impair the ability for the generational transfer of wisdom, not information, wisdom. So, for example, if you were averaging 100 years, 105 years, you would actually, have a chance to share with your sons, daughters, your second generation, which would be third generation, your grandkids, your great grandkids. So your first generation would be in their 70s when you're in your hundreds. Then your second generation would be about in their 50s, and then you'd still get another generation in the 20s, and you'd still get another like fourth, fifth generation being born when you're starting to die. So you see, and now they've cut it short. So if you're dying in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, you only get access to one or two generations at the most. And that's not even counting, the destruction of the familial nuclear familial unit. So this is part of their end game. And the calcification of the pineal gland, a lot of people think, oh, well, it's due to chloride or fluorine. Look, listen to the name, calcification. It means it's getting calcified. What do you think it's getting calcified with? It's getting calcified. Here, look, fluoride, chlorine. And I've even repeated this myself in the past, because these things, these lies, they're very contagious. So what causes calcification? Calcium. Cara causes calcification. No other thing causes calcification. Okay? And what does Cara mean? It means to make a binding, to make an affliction, to make a pain, a confinement. Because when you're calcifying the pineal, you're shutting off people's third eye. You're shutting off your connection to the spirit world. And I don't mean the demonic realm. You can go that route if you want, but you can be under the influence of demons when you're watching TV, when you're driving in your car and you're giving people the finger. You can be under demonic influence anywhere. But when you're shutting yourself off without even knowing it, and don't get me wrong, this is all free will, because you're eating that bagel without somebody putting a gun to your head, or hopefully, or you're eating that tortilla with cheese, with queso blanco, or grilled cheese, and nobody's making you do it. You're choosing to do it, and you're choosing things that there's not a tree that gives you cheese. There's not a tree that gives you baguettes. There's not a pizza tree, as far as I know. So you're choosing things that are of this world, that are made by men and actually demonic entity inspired. You're choosing that over an apple. You're choosing that over a lettuce. You're choosing that over distilled water or rainwater. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of um, natural law that goes into this, and the fallen are experts in natural law. They don't know everything. That's why they always end up losing, but they know quite a bit more than you and I. That's for sure. So we need to go back to the scriptures. We need to go back inside ourselves and decalcify our pineal gland. And I'll do another video on how you can reduce calcification in your body with just some comments, nothing much. No, um, once you see it, it becomes pretty clear. But if you can't see it because you have this gunk over your third eye, you're disconnected from like the truth, like literally. So that's why you have people that are walking around mindlessly like zombies, and you're trying to talk sense into them, and they just don't get it. They'll never get it because this has happened to it. They've been shut out of their connection with the Creator, with the Almighty. You see, it's like they have blinders on, literally. They have something over their eyes, literally. I'm not going to go into all the details of the pineal gland, but the pineal gland is connected to the optic nerve that comes in through the eyes. So, and this is called the crystal palace right here, between the pituitary and the pineal. And so the light information or instruction that goes through your eyes, it feeds directly into the pineal, and then from there down through your cerebrospinal fluid to your whole column and your body. So you're programming or deprogramming your soul through the light, through what you see and how you process it, how you interpret that information. You see why it is so important. So if you're putting blinders on people through here and here, you're shutting them off. You're keeping them in the soul trap, and that person's gonna die deaf and dumb and blind to like all the truth and the higher truths and the spiritual world, and just like a bunch of things. Like imagine. So this is part of their end game, and this is why it's the root of the soul trap mechanism. You're gonna die. You're gonna be reborn, but you're always gonna have your pineal covered. So you're done. I mean, you're stuck in the matrix, in the samsara, and that's Kali Yuga. And now we go to Kali. The name of the devil, Kali, is also the same root as for calcium. So the word calcium, cal, in Spanish, cal is the name for calcium itself. It means time, because time destroys everything. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says that Kalasmi. He says, I am Kala, the destroyer of worlds. And this is a famous verse that is misquoted by that joke of a guy, Oppenheimer. He misquoted it because he didn't say the exact words correctly. The exact words are Kalasmi. And I'll do another video on that. But so the thing is saying that the Creator is saying that He is time himself. And time turns everything into stone and destroys everything. Everything that is ephemeral, everything that is of this world. It is the destiny. Okay? It is the fate. So Kala also means the dirtiness, right? Because calcium blocks. It's going to make something that was crystalline and translucent. It's going to make it opaque, right? So very interesting here. Carcara, one of the synonyms for Carcara is Kadru. Look, Kadru. This serpent here. See under Kadru. And Kadru has a lot of, deep meanings as well. The avariciousness, the covetousness. So is that not tawny? Look, spotted, variegated, desire. Look at this, the serpent race. So these serpent races, they're real, man. They're real. The mother of the species of the serpents. Um, it's all encoded in the language. Okay, so this is a lot of information for you guys. I hope it helps you on your journey. Um, so let's see what also in the Bible, if you remember that story of Lot and his wife, when she looked back at Genesis 19:27, when she looked back, she was turned in the Greek interlinear. She was turned into a halos. Halos is a pillar of salt, a monument of salt. Stele halos. Okay, but halos, let's get into it a little deeper. Halos is not just any salt, it's actually sea salt. Halos or hals, the root is comes from the sea, from the salt of the sea. So that's quite telling because seawater has a lot of calcium. It's a high percentage of calcium. All right. Halos is also the origin for halo, which is the disk of the sun or moon. And I'll get into that a little bit here, why it is the disk of the sun and the moon. And it also means sea salt. Like you could be saying, hey, here's the truth. It doesn't make any sense. Well, it doesn't. It does make sense when you know what you're looking for, when you have a certain degree of wisdom granted by the Creator. For example, Cara also means a beam, a moonbeam. It also means hail or a sunbeam or a ray of light. Look at the coincidence. It's not a coincidence here. So from the Sanskrit we get Cara and Cara, and here we have moonbeam, sunbeam, ray of light. Okay, and that's the same thing as halo. So both from the Greek and the Sanskrit, we're getting this ring of light, light around the moon. Why? Because listen, this sounds crazy, but it's true. And you know we have other ways of confirming it. The stars and the sun and the moon are also made of calcium. They're also made of calcium. Not entirely. They have some calcium plasma. All right. So here, for example, and exploding star. And you can read a lot of these papers, and you can be like, "Hey, Keys to Truth, that's just fake. You know, space is fake. Blah blah blah. We know about more about the shape of the Earth now. Yes, we do. And this is one of the things that first slowed me down in several years ago. Um, in my realization, my waking up of like, hey, space is not what we've been led to believe, because I knew about spectroscopy. I knew about spectroscopy, and I knew this is how we know what the stars are made of. Yeah, but I didn't dive deeper into it then. I am now, and so in the spectroscopy, this is the technique that's used to know pretty much what anything's made out of in a lab. Um, so here you can find that this, the moon, the sun, and the stars, they all have a certain composition of calcium, and this is precisely where the term limelight comes from, because they would actually set on fire a piece of calcium, a limestone, for the actors back in the day in the theaters, and it would give off a very bright white light, and that is what gives the stars their brightness. Okay, so you can look for the papers, and just keep in mind, stars, they're plasma beings. They're actually, and I know it's not part of the video. I'm getting ahead of myself, but still, you guys, I'm giving you nuggets, and you go ahead and research them if you want. Stars are illuminated beings, literally. They're plasma bodies of spiritual beings, both angels and ascended souls, the souls of those that led others to righteousness. It says so in the book of Daniel and several other parts, several other holy scriptures. So anyway, let's keep going. Man, I've already covered where they put calcium, but it's even in vapes, it's in cigarettes, it's in toothpaste, it's in lotion, okay? Nivea lotion, they're all full of calcium. This is the real reason why people are getting cancer in their mouth, in their tongue, in their larynx, in their throat, in their skin. It's the calcium. And so you can deny it all you want, but research it. Look, there's this great website I found that's just dedicated telling you which products contain calcium chloride, which I told you already is the fastest accelerant, the fastest coagulator known to man, pretty much. So all these things are poisoning you and giving you an early death. Drinking water, they call it hard water just to try to fool you. And on and on and on, guys. You could, this is endless. Let's see a little bit of this right here. There was this incident where, the CIA documented some sort of light turning some people into pillars of calcium, of sea salt.
There's literally like a CIA document about it, that these guys supposedly shot at a low-flying spaceship. According to the KGB materials, a quite low-flying spaceship in the shape of a saucer appeared above a military unit that was conducting routine training maneuvers. For unknown reasons, somebody unexpectedly launched a surface-to-air missile and hit the UFO. It fell to Earth not far away, and 5 short humanoids with large heads and large black eyes emerged from it. It is stated in the testimonies by the 2 soldiers who remained alive that after freeing themselves from the debris, the aliens came close together and then merged into a single object that acquired a spherical shape. That object began to buzz and hiss sharply, and then became brilliant white. In a few seconds, the spheres grew much bigger and exploded by flaring up with an extremely bright light. At that very instant, 23 soldiers who had watched the phenomenon turned into stone poles.
Poles?
Yeah, only 2 soldiers who stood in the shade and were less exposed to the luminous explosion survived.
No shit.
The KGB report goes on to say that the remains of the UFO and the petrified soldiers were transferred to a secret scientific research institution near Moscow. Specialists assume that a source of energy that is still unknown to Earthlings instantly changed the structure of the soldiers' living organisms, having transformed it into a substance whose molecular composition is no different from that of limestone. Oh my God.
It turned them into limestone.
Turned them literally into limestone.
And this is a CIA page.
We were not stone then, but light. It was not our place to interfere. Yet we chose to try and help mankind. And when we disobeyed the Creator, He punished us. We were encrusted by your world. Rock and mud shackled our fiery glow. Still, we taught mankind all we knew of creation. With our help, they rose from the dust, became great and mighty. But then they turned our gifts to violence. Only one man protected us, your grandfather Methuselah. We were hunted, most of us killed.
So you see, I've shown you the why and the how of all this calcium or Cara. It may quite possibly be that these evil, fallen, demonic angels are taking retribution on us because they were, in fact, turned into stone along with their offspring ages ago, more of a flash petrification. And so they are basically doing the same thing to us. But it is your acceptance that is helping them. The people putting the limestone into the food and you eating it. So raise your awareness, get right with the Creator, and I wish you the best. Blessings to you.